Welcome back to the channel, and today we're doing the part 4 of the parade of Lionel trains. And what I wanted to highlight today was Berkshires. So I've seemed to have grown an infinity for Nickel Plate Road. So we've got a special lash up that we're going to do today with the Nickel Plate Road. And I also have several other Burks that I wanted to talk about. So again, thanks for tuning in, and let's get started. So the first Burke I wanted to talk about was the 765, and this particular model is 611454, and it was offered in the 2014 Signature Edition catalog for Lionel. And there were a couple other Burks offered. It was a Chesapeake in Ohio, an Erie, and a param Marquette. And so the thing that was unique about this particular Berkshire, the 765, and in my opinion, the best one that Lionel has produced, is because of several options. One is that the boiler front had two headlights, one with the single light and one with the Mars light that could be swapped out. The other thing that was neat about it is that it came with the crew certificate of the 765 that operated the restored engine. And on this particular engine, I am extremely excited because I purchased this at an auction, and the auctioneer really didn't pay much attention to what they were auctioning off. And so anyways, I got it, and to my surprise, not only does the crew talk have the voice of Rich Melvin, who happens to be the one of the engineers that operated the restored 765, but also it's signed. And so if I open up the hatch covers on the tender, you could see his name there, that he signed this particular engine. And the thing that's neat is that Rich Melvin and the president of Lionel, Hitchcock, were at York one year, and they were signing these. You brought the engine, you brought the box, and they would autograph it. So that puts an extra little spin on it. And when I spoke to Rich, he said that he can't recall how many boxes they signed, but he really doesn't remember signing many of the tenders. So I'm thinking that this is probably one of a small number. But anyways, it's in my collection and one of my prize pieces. And I wanted to show you on the box itself, on the Berkshire box, you could see that the Lionel president, Howard Hitchcock, signed it. And if we come over on the other side, the glare is pretty bad. All right, so we come over to the other side, and you can see where Rich Melvin signed it as the 765 engineer. So pretty neat. Nice little conversation piece. And then just to add to the interest of this particular item, I pulled this off of the OGR site, and it's where Rich was telling everyone that on 2015 at the Spring York, that he would be there, and Howard Hitchcock would be there to go ahead and do their autographs of the boxes. So I've got a little bit of documentation to support the autographs. And then to wrap up my little 765 Rich Melvin story, I also bought the book that talked about the 765 and the restoration process, and some stories about the episodes when running the engine. And it's pretty cool because Rich went ahead and signed the copy also. So it's a neat little book. It's got some great pictures. All right, so that's the 765 6-11454 from the 2014 catalog. And another Burke that I have is the Berkshire from the same 2014 catalog, 6-11452. And actually, I don't have a lot of Chesapeake and Ohio. I'm toying with maybe selling this one. But it's a nice little engine, hasn't been run, it's on display. All right, and just to round out my Burkes, I have param Marquette, which is 1223. I've got the 1227, and way back there, I've got the 1225. So these were offered in the, I think 2012, two of them were 2012, and the other one is a 2016 release, I think. I'll go back and take a look. But the upper shelf is empty, and reason for it is I've made room for all of the Burkes that I got in the last catalog. So this row is going to be all of the Berkshires for Nickel Plate Road, the different road numbers. And then I also purchased the freight set that Lionel released. So I will be stacked up with Berkshires. All right, before we get started running trains, I just wanted to talk about one more Burke. It's a 765, and it came from the 2017 Signature Edition of Lionel. And they offered a number of Burkes in the Nickel Plate Road. There was 759, 765, and 767. And what was not that appealing about some of these engines was the boiler front was a real light gray. Didn't have that darker gunmetal gray. This was kind of a light gray, which really hindered the sales of these. And I've seen them on the OGR site, or I've seen them on eBay for really numbers that were surprising. I mean, they were selling for like the $950 range. But so I had this one weathered by Harry Heike to cover up the light gray. And it's one Burke that I run on my layout continuously. And this will be the one that we'll be running today with my special lash-up. So stay tuned. I recently bought a GP9 from Mr. Muffins. It's a custom run, and you know, Mr. Muffins does a lot of custom runs, and he's probably not the cheapest hobby store around, but the one good thing about Mr. Muffins is he does do a lot of custom runs. He's open to his customer base to make suggestions, and he's more than willing to risk making an order with Lionel or MTH and coming out with something special. So if it's kind of run-of-the-mill things that Lionel offers, it's probably wise to do some shopping around. I found that Charles Rowe was probably pretty there on the top when it comes to lower pricing. I buy a lot of my trains from Tony's Roundhouse down in northern Florida. He is pretty competitive with pricing also. But anyways, so the reason why I bought this GP9 was a video that I saw, a YouTube video, and it was a lash up of the 765, and then it had the nickel plate road GP9 as a pusher in the back of the passenger train. So that's what I'm going to do today. I normally don't do a lot of talking. I prefer just to have a lot of trains running, but probably we just needed a little bit of explanation as far as what prompted me to go ahead and do this. Here's the YouTube that I was referring to. It's of the 765 and the GP9. And I don't have the URL, but if you do a search on YouTube using the title, you'll find it very easily. Hopefully you enjoyed my part 4. This will be the end of the parade of Lionel trains for now. And we are expecting to get the F-19s in shortly, so we'll be making some videos on the F-19s. And then when I get the other Burks, stay tuned for those. So I know I yapped more than I normally do on these things. I try to just focus on the trains. But I felt like this needed just a little bit of explanation, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and stay tuned. Please subscribe, and I appreciate everybody watching. Thank you. Any suggestions, I'm open to thoughts and ideas. So thanks a lot.